Yeah, we have Charles Davis joining us, and the reason we have Charles Davis on the show is A, he's a brilliant football mind, but B, last week Leroy Hoard told us a story about Charles Davis that we're going to play the story in case you missed it last Wednesday, then we can't wait to hear Charles' reaction to that. But this was Leroy Hoard last Wednesday on Charles Davis, who will be joining us right after you hear this clip from our guy Leroy. Steve, play it.
Yeah. Charles Davis, hey, no, I ain't messing with him. Let me tell you a story. So here's what happened. He was announcing one of our games. It was Minnesota Vikings and the Denver Broncos. We were on our own 2-yard line. It was 3rd and 37. They give me a draw, and I go for 53 yards and get the first down.
Oh, my God.
Right?
You said it was 3rd and what?
37.
37.
And you got
Go look it
53
up.
yards?
I got 53 yards on a draw.
Damn.
This is no lie. Go look it up. It's documented. So he says, that was a great run by Leroy Hoard, which he always does. But I got to tell you, if that was Robert Smith, that would have been 6. he said this on air.
Was he lying?
Yes. Because here's the deal. That means that Robert would have had to get to the same spot I got to. And running back see things differently.
Yeah.
How many guys did you knock over to get to that 53? I can only imagine.
Nobody. I made them all miss, baby. Let me tell you something. Hold on. I didn't get touched. And I start running down the sideline. And I'm like, damn, I ain't even in midfield yet.
Yeah.
Right? Somebody touched me, and I just fell. Ooh.
Now, on one hand, he was right because it is documented. Charles Davis is a great sport because we reached out to him and said, Charles, you got to come on and defend yourself. And Charles, you immediately said what?
It wasn't me.
It wasn't me.
Hit him with the Shaggy. No, got me on camera.
Listen, I am who Shaggy was thinking of when he wrote the song. It wasn't me.
So because you weren't even doing NFL games yet.
I had a coach tell me that in college. It wasn't you. Never, ever say it wasn't you. Eventually, they'll think it's someone else. It's like the great Chris Rock routine where you have that nice car you bought and you're out driving. Of course, you get pulled over and the cop's telling you it's a stolen car. And you're like, no, I just bought it. It's my car. After 5 minutes of haranguing you, eventually Chris Rock was like, well, maybe I did steal this car. I'm not really sure how it all goes down, but all I can tell you is it was sent to me. Our friend Steve, who I've worked with, loved him to death, he sent this and said, Leroy says that you called him out. And I looked at the date. It's like 1999. I was doing high school games in 1999. My first NFL game was way down the road. I laugh because I talked to Leroy since then. I was probably doing Frank Gore games in high school at that time frame. In fact, I did a Frank Gore game in high school in Miami where he put it on the deck 3 times in the first quarter and finished with over 300 yards in the game.
Oh, my God.
Okay, that was Frank Gore in high school, okay? But I wasn't doing Leroy Hoard breaking 3rd and 37 draws at that time.
Well, let's get to the bottom
Have
of
we
it.
figured out who it is?
Yeah, well, we've got the clip.
Real quick. Hey, Jay, real quick.
Yeah.
Leroy has told this story so often now. Now it started to hit him a little bit. Remember how indignant he was about, well, if Robert Smith had broken, that might have gone. Leroy actually said today, and it's on air. I heard it, and it's documented. Well, maybe he was right. Robert might have broken it. Robert might have taken it to the house on that one. So it's turned into a great story. I finally said, did you guys figure out who it was? Because I had a pretty good idea when I heard the voice. And I understood why there's a similarity there. I get it. And they said, yes, it's Ron Pitts.
Yes.
And Ron Pitts was a great football player. He was an analyst for the NFL. Then he became a play-by-play guy, which is very difficult to make.
Very difficult.
And he did it at the highest level, all right? I eventually visited UCLA on a recruiting trip. My host, Ron Pitts.
Nice.
No.
Later as an analyst, working the booth in Fox games, Ron Pitts was my play-by-play partner.
Oh, my God.
I mean, we got a lot of ties in there, but it wasn't me. That's all I'm telling you. It wasn't me.
Well, listen, we have the clip, so let's play the clip. So we don't have the clip?
The run?
Yeah.
No, that was a line that we did not want to cross, legally speaking.
Oh.
Yeah, Jay, the NFL's got that one embargoed. And unless
we're with the
Luka
NFL
Brasi-
employee here. I don't want to break the rules with the NFL employee.
Hey,
Come on.
Jay,
Yeah.
unless you've got Luka Brasi with you, you don't want to go chasing that one. Just let it go.
Listen, we've been fighting that battle the entire time of our show's existence.
Does
It's-
that clip live
that
on
one
YouTube?
go.
Never go against the family.
I
Never go against the family.
got a real question here. I'm a big Madden player. How did you
Yeah,
get?
Garrett.
How did you get the nod for the Madden game? How did that pop? Because there's a lot of people that would love to. How did you get that off?
Gary, you're asking me that question like you're saying, how the heck?
Yeah, exactly.
No, like that. I'm
just kidding.
It's just funny.
Yeah.
No, it's like that's the holy grail. Like
It is.
when you got that call, it was like, dang.
Well, doesn't Jonathan Coachman do that too?
Not
the
anymore.
play-by-play?
No.
Coach used to do the play-by-play, I think.
Yeah.
No, he never did the play-by-play.
Was he just analyst?
He was like the halftime update.
Oh,
pregame,
okay.
that sort of a deal. The coach was doing that, but he wasn't doing play-by-play. In a nutshell, Garrett, it's a great question because when I told my dad I got it, he said essentially, how the heck did they pick you? Like, what? He said, I need to talk to some people. It had been Phil Simms and Jim Nance for a long time. Obviously, Coach Madden did it in the beginning with Pat Summerall. We've had great announcers like Brad Nessler, Gus Johnson, right down the line. Of course, they had the college game, which is coming back.
Yes, sir.
But they had wanted now at this point to be able to score with the game. And Garrett is a longtime player. You remember when you used to buy the game in the summer, but the game was the game was the game was the game. And so you learned it very quickly. And after about 2 weeks, you knew exactly what we were going to say. Now,
absolutely.
I'm not saying that a player who plays it now doesn't anticipate what lines are going to hit, but there are more of them. We have more tape and things that we're doing. Plus, for the longest time, we would come in on Monday after a Sunday game, Monday and Tuesday, and put new lines into the game that the player could access on Wednesday, Thursday.
Wow,
Every week you had fresh commentary, and they needed people who could do that. Jim, Phil, they're big-time guys. They got a lot going on. I was just a minnow. I had nothing going on. So myself and Brandon, we became those guys who would come in and do that, and this is our 8th year doing it.
Yeah.
Now, they're going to expand, Garrett. I don't know if you've seen it, heard it yet. There are going to be multiple announced teams going forward.
That gives
you an opportunity to change up who you're listening to.
That's crazy.
I think at this point, a lot of people would say, if I hear Davis's voice one more time, I'm going to do something that's going to get me in trouble. So I get it. It's been a heck of a run. It's right. It's the Holy Grail. It's a franchise can you believe we're connected with Madden? I mean, that's Coach Madden's franchise. We are very fortunate. But I'll leave you with this. Very few players knew it was me. I talk to players every week getting ready for a game. In 8 years, I've had 3 players mention, hey, are you the Madden guy? That's it.
Oh, wow.
What?
That is stunning. How to play?
Well, the bottom line is, guys, we're not in the game. It's our voices.
Yeah.
Garrett can tell you.
That's true.
There's one pop-up thing that may come up if you're not a great player and you let it roll through.
Yeah.
The great players scroll through quickly.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
the rest of the time, it's just a voice. And I had actually Jalen Hurts about 2 seasons ago. I was asking him questions. He said, "Hold on a minute, I know that voice." That's one of the few times that has happened.
Dang, that's crazy.
Charles, we always talk about chemistry when it comes to teams. People don't talk about it as much with broadcasters. I know your partner Ian Eagle a little bit because we both started at the same radio station in New York.
Oh, yeah.
And he was on my podcast a couple of weeks ago, and I said to him, that I loved you and Charles and Evan. I think you guys are a great team. I like when you guys call the game. You're my favorites on CBS. And he said in particular he thought that you and he together hit your stride completely this year with your chemistry. And I don't know that fans really think about chemistry of broadcasters, but you guys have a good time. I noticed this year you're busting Evan's balls quite a bit, it's funny. You guys have a really good chemistry right now. It's got to be a lot of fun doing the games.
Yeah, I feel very fortunate, obviously, to be with him and Evan, obviously. Now, we came together COVID year.
Yeah.
So we didn't get a chance to spend any time together as a group in person, because that's what you would normally do. I would have flown to New Jersey to visit with him. I would have done all those things, but we couldn't do it.
Yeah.
We didn't even do a rehearsal game. The first game we did was Cleveland and Baltimore season opener 2020. First time we ever did anything as a ball game. But what we did in advance was we got together over Zoom. And to show you just how cheap we all are, we didn't buy the extended time Zoom.
Oh, come on now.
It was me, Ian, and Evan. And then we later included in our producer and director. And we would just sit and talk for 45 minutes and became a game to see when the 45 minutes ran out, who was talking, and that face you make when the camera freezes. And all of a sudden, so Ian, I'm going to come.
Allsworthy.
That's what we did to get to know each other. But I think you're right. Just over time, it grows. Now, can you fake it in the booth? Absolutely, you can. There are legendary stories, which I know you guys all know and have heard, and maybe even know some people, where those partners didn't get along very well.
Sure.
And for the most part at home, people don't know. I remember one years and years ago where they were in a meeting and the one partner had enough, and the partner kind of, the top partner had said something in the meeting. The other partner said, you know something? I've taken your nonsense for 10 years. I'm going to kick your right now. Actually, went over
the names.
Go get it. I'm old enough to remember those old cop shows where the names will remain unnamed to protect the innocent.
Yeah, that's well said.
Good
You
idea.
don't want to be the guy that leaks that one. Hey, what's your take on the Browns? We were having a discussion before we brought you in. This team has just been steamrolled by injuries, and now they've got a couple more that they're looking at. How do you judge them in the wide look of the league, how they fit in and what they're doing this year?
I don't want to say I discount injuries, but it's the way of the league. And this is where now I heard I heard a good portion of your discussion. I thought it was really good because it's the age old. Is there a tipping point? Is there one person that can cause this thing to crumble? Or is it always just next man up and you figure out a way, which is what Cleveland has been doing? I also think you got to start looking at that front office with Andrew Berry and saying, okay, there are guys who are filling in. You're getting them. Then you go to Stefanski and his staff and how they're coaching them to have them ready to go because they're actually getting good play from people. This isn't just simply we've got to work around everything because some of the things you can't work around, they have to just jump up and play. I heard the conversation about MJ Emerson, and if you've heard me do a ball game, you might think the Emersons are going to have to invite me to their family reunion.
They might have to invite all of us.
Yeah.
I've been crazy about him for a long time and thought that he was not getting his due. And it's understandable when Denzel's on the other side and playing as well as he has this year. But we saw Martin Emerson at his best on Sunday. But we saw others at their best. Thornhill goes out. Who was that talking about Rocket Harrison?
Right.
I mean, he jumped in and played very well for them. Remember, he was an All-American safety who just somehow slid through the cracks and didn't get drafted, and it happens every year. But he didn't get discouraged. He got himself ready to go, and he played a heck of a game on Sunday. So, as I said, I'm not discounting injuries. Everyone has them, and in this league, no one cares. Who are you showing up with on Sunday, and are you going to play to the level you need to play? Look, Joe Flacco is 137 years old, okay? And he's giving them really good play. And not only is he giving them good play, you guys are there. Tell me you don't see an air of confidence around that team
100%.
that maybe you didn't see 2 weeks ago.
And it's growing. It's growing.
Yeah.
And it
No
should
doubt.
be. It absolutely should be. I knew the arm would be there. Listen, the old argument is Joe Flacco elite? The arm's always elite. Who Joe Flacco is as a person is elite, and they have tapped into that. And I thought on Sunday he showed all the reasons why if the Browns don't get exactly where they want to go, I don't think it's going to be because Joe Flacco couldn't help them get there. This team has now elevated itself to believe, hey, we can win with this guy. Not that they didn't believe in DTR, but I'm just going to tell you what I think the difference is. When I watched them play with DTR, the defense played like they had to win the game. On Sunday, the defense played to what the offense gave them and played with a little more cushion, a little freer. The scores were different, but remember, Pittsburgh can't score. Okay, so that's a whole different ball game, all right?
Yeah.
In this case, they were able to play and say, guess what? If something goes wrong, we're good because our quarterback will find a way, and the offense gave them something that we hadn't seen in recent weeks.
Charles, realistically, I mean, they're sitting at the 5th seed right now, and they're playing so well. If the playoffs started, would you consider them to be the most dangerous team in the playoffs?
Ooh, who's sitting behind them at 6 and 7?
Let me look
7.
it up.
Well, it's all the way down to 11.
You guys,
about to say, there's so
right
many
now the
people in the hunt.
Steelers are the 6th seed, the Colts are the 7, but you got the Bengals, you got the Texans, you got the Buffalo Bills, all right there.
Everybody 7 and 6.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you the two teams that out of all that, and remember, I know Kansas City's lost 4 or 6. So do we really think they're out of it? No. Okay. Buffalo. We know the talent. They got off the deck and got a win that they needed. So those teams are kind of like almost givens. Now we'll see if Buffalo can continue it. Miami still hasn't beaten anyone of note. Okay, so we got to figure that part out. But let's get deeper into it. Did we not give up Cincinnati for dead about 2 weeks ago?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's over. They're back in it because they got that young quarterback who thinks he can play. And by the way, his last 2 games, he played. So now Cincinnati's back in it with their defense. I do think it comes out of the North. Cincinnati or Cleveland are the two that scare me because both of them can take the ball away on defense. And that's what would scare the heck out of me going against teams like that. That is how they play. That's what they're used to doing. Forget all the other numbers. Just take a look at the takeaways. That's the big deal for both of those defenses. And Cleveland got back to it on Sunday. And Cincinnati's getting back to it now under Lou Anarumo. So those two scare me. Pittsburgh's sitting in a spot right now that, 1, we can't believe they're in, and 2, do we really believe they'll maintain it? I'm not so sure they can, based off of what we've seen all season long. Mike Tomlin, love him to death. But that offense, that's tough.
Charles, I'm curious. I guess the favorites right now would probably be Dak or Purdy, Lamar maybe Tua. Tyreek, sure. Who would you vote? I mean, obviously we got 4 weeks to go. It can change. But today, who would you vote for MVP?
Sitting here right now today,
Yeah.
it'd be hard for me not to vote for Purdy. And I'm going to tell you why. Because when you put all the numbers together, and I know it all started with, well, heck, he hit the right situation. He's doing this, doing that. Totally agree, right? In the beginning, I was kind of there myself. Like, boy, he couldn't have landed a better team. And by the way, Kyle Shanahan in his career, at one point we thought Nick Mullins was viable. C.J. Beathard was viable. He does that with quarterbacks. But when you watch Purdy in these last, let's say, 5-6 ball games, is he not making big-time throws and plays, tight windows, reading coverages? That deep ball he threw on Sunday, the Debo, was not supposed to be the Debo. He read the safety getting flat-footed and said, oh, let's take the shot and let it rip. Bam. Now, that's what I like about him. Yeah, the story's great and all that, but guess what? He's a legit player, and we're having that guy kind of emerge. And by the way, they're the best team in the NFL, in my opinion, right now. So it's hard for me to get away from that part of it, too, because he's had a hand in it. He is not just along for the ride. He makes them better. And when he's in the lineup, McCaffrey's in the lineup, Debo's in the lineup, Trent Williams in the lineup, and Kittle, I think they're undefeated if they start and finish games in regular season. With
Charles, let me ask you a question that's in the same vein, but Gronk came out and said not a quarterback this year. There's just not one, in his view, that has risen to that level. And obviously, if you're going to make a case for a non-quarterback, it's going to be Tyreek Hill. And I think normally when guys get hurt, it sort of takes them out of the running for awards. And you mentioned that Miami hasn't really put together those quality wins, but watching that game last night and watching what Miami's offense looked like when number 10 was on the field and what they looked like when number 10 was off the field, I'm okay with a vote for Tyreek Hill this year for MVP. Are you?
I don't disagree with you, Jay, and I would understand it totally when people go there because he makes that kind of a difference in what defenses have to do. They scare the heck out of them. Tyvis came out of school, and in all my notes and ratings, one of the smartest safeties that I had evaluated because I never saw false steps out of him. He understood where people were coming from. He understood splits. He understood what teams couldn't do before the ball was snapped and put himself in position to make a play on what they could do. That's what the good ones do. That's what I loved about Tyvis coming out of school. This is what Tyreek Hill does to you, though, because you can do everything right and he can still run by you.
Right.
You can do everything right and he can still make the play on you. That's why, Jay, if anybody wants to go in that direction, I have no problem with it. But here's the thing. We are fighting a history.
Yeah, he's not going to win. No
I
chance.
Never have a wide receiver be MVP. Never. And Jerry Rice has come through for goodness sakes. Okay? We've had Megatron with his season. We've had all that. Listen, the year Christian McCaffrey went 1,000, he was on a 5-win Carolina team and didn't win MVP.
Yeah.
Roger Craig went 1,000, didn't even get a sniff at it. It is hard to get away from quarterbacks.
It is.
And we don't have a defender this year approaching 20 sacks yet. So that's the next thing, because that would have been Lawrence Taylor, Bill, TJ Watt, Michael Strahan set the sack record. He didn't win it.
Yep.
It's usually a quarterback thing. That's why I kind of go in Purdy's direction.
Yep.
Yeah,
Thanks,
that's
Charles.
understandable. Hey, before we let you go, I've got to ask, did you arrange the gorgeous Christmas displays behind you?
Oh, yeah, it's pretty.
Or where did that come from? Because it's beautifully done.
I appreciate you guys seeing that, and that is wonderful. And I would take the credit if this was not recorded. I would pull remember the old commercials where the guy would get into the car and go into situations and they'd say, "Are you Dr. Galakowitz?" "Yes, I am." That would be me. But you know better. Yeah. My beautiful wife Lisa has done all this and had some help from the rest of the family, but she does this each and every year. And we actually have another display on the other side that I can't show you. But let's just say that we like the holidays around here.
Yeah.
There's a rule
Nice.
that I can neither confirm nor deny that there might be 10 Christmas trees in here.
Hey, it warms up the house.
Yeah.
And I thought that your answer should have been, it wasn't me, it was Ron Pitts. But we love it. It looks great. Charles,
if the Pitsy's in my house and I don't know it, that leads to a whole nother stuff.
hey, you're awesome, man. And we all echo Bull's sentiments. When we get your team on the call, it's a win-win for Browns fans.
Yes, it
You're
is.
very popular here in Cleveland, and you do a terrific job. Thanks for taking time
Charles.
for us. And happy holidays.
Appreciate it. Hey, continued success to you guys. You guys are fantastic. Happy holiday season to you and yours.
Thank
and hopefully
you.
we'll see you soon.